to this. This could only make sense when you have Chava, who's created as a being without any yeshus, without a Yetzer Hara. That Aveira is different to any other Aveira that can ever happen after that. Can't really be compared.
And could anyone else have done that Avera? Could Adam have done the Avera? Could it have waited? Could one of their kids have done the Avera?
It says that Chava was given to Adam as a Ezer Kenegdai, to help him.
Achieve what he had to do.
Achieve what had to be achieved. She had Bini Yasera, a deeper understanding. Where do we see that?
But Hashem sent a snake. He wasn't just like Chava saw it. I mean, Hashem sent this snake.
Yeah, because Chava on her own could not have thought of going against Hashem's will.
Because she couldn't think outside of her
She couldn't see out of...
Yeah, somebody had introduced that idea.
I see.
Mm-hmm. With her Bina Yasera, she understood that this is the necessary path. But in the end, this is what needs a tikkun. It needs to be corrected.
But why she had to be punished? I mean, okay, because she did the sin.
Yeah.
She
it's
didn't
not
do
punishment.
Hashem's
What was the punishment?
To have children with pain.
Right. So in other words, you're going to feel, you're going to experience, you're going to go through challenge. It's not. You're not a.
So you're not going to get a silver platter anymore.
You're involved. Yeah. That was the choice. That was the choice she made.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
That it can't be that Avodas Hashem is just easy and natural. And it has to be with pain and difficulty.
So that's
and
the
challenge.
consequences.
It's
to
the choice. That's the logical consequence.
Right. Okay. Yeah. She elected perception, then she's going to have perception.
Yes.
Yes, so that means you're going to feel pain. Before that, you wouldn't feel anything.
And Adam had to work on the field, so that's also
if you're going to have Hargasha, then Hargasha means
feeling
not just
pain.
Simcha.
Okay.
So Noach thought you have to anesthetize yourself. If Hargasha, if feeling is the problem that Chava and Adam introduced to the world, so we need to anesthetize ourselves, lose our feeling by getting drunk. But that is just confusing feeling. That's just negating feeling. That's not transcending feeling.
So had he drunk the grapes, like wine, without having gotten drunk?
If you had simcha that comes from bittul, not simcha that comes from confusion.
Then that could have corrected it.
Correct. But he got it wrong. So it took another 10 generations to sort it out.
But did Sarah drink wine or not?
V'atikun al chet eitzadas inin hargasha nasai de Sarah dafka. The tikkun, the real correction of the sin of the eitzadas, which was what brought about hargasha feeling, nasai de Sarah dafka was specifically achieved by Sarah. Because Sarah didn't drink wine. She understood that it's not about wine. That's not the problem. The problem is hargasha and being self-absorbed. You need to have bittul. That's real joy. Real joy comes from bittul, as we'll see later in the Maimer. And so it's bittul that we need to work on, not losing your consciousness, but transcending your consciousness. How do we see that Sarah did this? Brackets Kemvurbu Kabbalah, as it's explained in Kabbalah, Sarah tikna masha kilku Chava. It says in Kabbalah that Sarah came along to correct what Chava did wrong. The fact that Sarah was the first one to light Shabbos candles was because Chava brought darkness into the world, and Chava brings the light. Sarah brings the light. She's starting to correct what Chava did wrong. The fact that Avram and Sarah were buried in Maros Machpelah, the same place as Adam and Chava, is because what Adam and Chava brought down, Avram and Sarah brought up. That was the correction. How do we see this in Sarah, that Sarah is bittul? First of all, the Sarah Hibichin is Malchus. In Kabbalah it says that Sarah was a personification of the attribute of Malchus, the sphere of Malchus. Shalachein Nikras Sarah, B'Lashon Sarah. That's why her name is Sarah. Sarah means the princess, royalty. Just like Malchus is royalty. And what is Malchus? What's the real definition of Malchus? What is that attribute? It's Inyan HaBittul. It is Bittul. nullification. Why is Malchus bittul?
Because it just absorbs all the other.
Right. Malchus's function is to take the spheres that are above it, the 9 spheres, and to reveal them. Not to add anything, not to change anything, not to color it in any way. Malchus is not leis lamagamar klum. It has nothing of its own. It merely is the conduit to reveal that which is above it. That is Malchus. That's the sphere of Malchus. In personality, it would be the attribute or the ability to have confidence, to be confident. A person who has Malchus is a person who is confident. What is confidence? Confidence is not innately useful. Confidence is that which allows your other talents and abilities to be revealed. So for example, somebody who is a very good teacher, or somebody who is a good writer, or somebody who is a good painter, or can run very fast, any of these talents needs confidence to be expressed. If I don't have the confidence, I'm not going to try running or painting or teaching or anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to express my abilities. A person who has a lot of talents and lack of confidence, those talents lie dormant. They're not expressed. When you have confidence, it allows the other talents to express. It facilitates the other abilities. It projects them. It puts them out there. On the other hand, if you have confidence but you don't have abilities, you have people like that.
Is that like an ego?
Super confident, but have nothing much to offer. So they're noisy. Like they're full of hot air, big talkers, but actually have nothing to offer.
So that's like
A corruption.
yeah.
So Malchus itself, leis lamagama klum, it has nothing itself. It is the passageway. It's the revealer, the enabler of that which is above it. Like the moon is a reflection of the light of the sun, not its own light, but it reflects the light of the sun. Malchus reflects the light that comes from the spheres above it. And to do that, you have to have bittul. To be a conduit like that, you have to just be transparent, be hollow, allow things to pass through. If Malchus would assert itself, then it's got nothing to offer. It has to just allow that which is above it to go through.
So confidence is actually bittul. You'd think it's the opposite, but to be truly confident, it's when you're not concerned about, you're not self-conscious. That's when you
Correct.
can be really confident.
Yeah. When you're worried about what everyone's thinking of you, then you're not confident. But you're worried. That's because you think about yourself. But when you just let your talents be expressed, then you're not thinking of yourself. You're just getting on with it. That's confidence. So Sarah is the princess, is Malchus,
No.
and she's the one that allows this expression. This is bittul. The Zel osas Sarah v'nachtas v'salkas. So that's what the Zohar says. Came along Sarah, she went down, but she came up again. Shemetzada bittul shebemalchus hinegam kshiyeredes lamata. The power of Malchus is, because Malchus is bittul, even when Malchus descends down to a lowly place, hayerida nachtas hi b'shvil aliyas v'salkas. The descent is for the sake of an ascent. Malchus can go down because it'll come up again. Do you read as a Malchus lamati b'chdei levar l'sakana netzutzes l'kedusha shenimtzom lamata l'alosim l'mayla? Because the reason why Malchus descends downwards is in order to ascend upwards, to elevate the sparks of holiness that are found in the lowly place and to bring them up again. Right? This is talking again about the attribute of Malchus as it is in the divine, the lowest of the 10 spheres. What's Malchus's power? Because Malchus is bittul, it's transparent, it's not full of self, it's able to descend down into the world and not become corrupt. Not be lost in the world. We see this through Sarah's life. When Avram went with Sarah down to Mitzrayim, which is a lowly place, Begashmias, the point of that descent was that the ascent coming out of Mitzrayim, when it says that Avram came out of Mitzrayim with his wife, is in the way that Avram was heavily laden with cattle and silver and gold. Sarah, which was all through Sarah. He got all that because of Sarah. As it says that Avram received because of her. They did good to him because of her. Meaning, in the Gashmistika story, Avram and Sarah went down to Mitzrayim, that was where Avram said to Sarah, say, you're my sister, not my husband, so that way they won't kill me, they'll be good to me. And indeed, they went down to Mitzrayim. They did give Avram all types of gifts, which when they left Mitzrayim, they took with them. And it was all because of her. What that means symbolically is Avram and Sarah here represent Hashem's light as it is beyond the world, and Hashem's light as it is within the world. Soviv and Mamala, or Zah and Malchus. Avram represents the divine light that is beyond the world. Sarah represents the divine light as it comes down within the world, because she's Malchus. Malchus is synonymous with the Shekhinah. Shekhinah is the indwelling presence of Hashem that is down here in the world. So, this whole enterprise of creating a world, a lowly world, a physical world, and allowing the divine light to enter it, is in order that that divine light should leave that world, the lowly world, but with wealth, with energy, with sparks of holiness that it elevates from the world. So where do we see the divine light invested in the world? What is the divine light that comes down into the world and then leaves the world? Our souls. Our neshamas are expressions of Malchus, of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence that comes down into the world, and inhabits the world, lives in a lowly world, but comes out with gifts for Avram, for Hashem. So Hashem gets this additional elevation of the lowly sparks that have fallen into the world through us, through our souls that come down into the world and maintain our connection. How are our neshamas able to come into the world and not get lost in the world, but rather elevate the world? Through bittul. Through maintaining a bittul to Hashem, a nullification, a surrender to Hashem.
Do we see it in any specific action of Sarah? Like we saw Chava and Noach, like, is there a specific something that she did which really expresses this bittul, or that is what bittul is?
It seems that it's what she personified. That there wasn't one behavior or one act. It was Sarah lived her life totally nullified to the divine cause.
So it's not just symbolic either.
Yeah, there was nothing for herself.
But what's the story when you talk about she was harsh to Hagar?
Why was she?
Because, okay, like she suggested to Abraham to take Hagar, the wife, to have a child, and then Hagar became disrespectful. So you said that she kind of was harsh on her, so Hagar had to run away.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it kind of, you feel like she cared about herself also?
So yeah, like all these stories, you can read them on the very simplistic level. There's like two wives fighting with each other.
But is that, it's like opposite of being bitul, kind of.
No, not asserting yourself isn't opposite of being bittul. Bittul doesn't mean that you're a nobody. Bittul means you stand up for what's right, no matter what.
I see.
So, with this we can understand what the Zohar then concludes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a bit off the topic, but when it says that Avram put Sarah in a box, what does that represent? That's always puzzled me.
I don't know. Offhand, I can't answer. I don't know. It's a good
Seems
question.
so odd.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an explanation somewhere. I don't know offhand.
Yeah, and then he went down to
Or they
Plishta.
open the box.
He didn't
what's the
put
box
her.
representing here?
Yeah, he didn't put her in a box. Only when going to the stand, he put her in a box.
Okay, it was through this that Sarah merited to supernal life, to the point where her life was hers. That's what the Zohar says. She merited to supernal life, and her life was hers. What that means is that she was even able to live her life. Her life was hers. She was able to experience life. We've just been saying that the whole thing that Chava did wrong was she came into hargasha, into feeling, into experience, into a sense of self. Sarah had to correct that by being on a level of bittul where you don't feel self. Through this, she merited that her life was hers, that she was able to experience life. Because Malchus is absolute bittul, so therefore, even the experience that Malchus has is bittul. Again, because Malchus is through and through absolute bittul, so even experiencing something, even living it, even that your life is yours, even having a being, having a self, is still with bittul. That's what Sarah achieved. What does that mean in avodah? Even when you're feeling simcha, the simcha is revealed. It's still infused with bittul. Like a true king who is in a state of elevation, a state of joy, a state of power, but all of that is without any yeshus. A true king is somebody who has no sense of self, who has all the confidence in the world, who has joy, who has power, who has influence, but without yeshus. So you're not drunk and clueless. You're totally aware, you're totally present, you feel joy, you feel it, but it's not about you. The emphasis is not you, it's with bittul. From such joy, apart from the fact that such joy cannot possibly lead to any negative consequences, as it did with Chava and with Noach, on the contrary, it brings to the highest level. To the point where such a person like Sarah experiences a similar experience to what will be in the future when Mashiach comes. As the Rebbe Rashab explains in his Maimer, that when it says that her life was hers, it's like when we will become back to life at Tchias HaMesim, when you really be alive. Now we're alive, but we're on borrowed time. Life, while we're mortal, is not real life. At Tchias HaMesim, we'll be really alive, because the life will be eternal. And that's what it means that Sarah, her life was hers. She really lived. She was totally alive. Because she had simcha, but the simcha was not about her, it was a bittul simcha, so therefore she could fully experience it, she could fully be present in it. But it's still not a self-absorption. It's simcha, it's total simcha, it's feeling simcha, but it's not about the feeling, it's not about me, it's about serving a higher purpose. So therefore her life was really hers. By being in a state of bittul, she could really be alive. Chaim b'tachlis hashleimus, that is life in the most complete sense of the words.
What do you mean? Can you please explain that?
Yeah. Chava understood that to be a puppet, to just do Hashem's will without any sense of self, can't be the point. This can't be what we're here to do. If that's what Hashem wanted, if Hashem wanted nothingness, he had nothingness before he created the world. He wants somethingness. He wants me to be a something. And so here's this tree, the Eitz Das, tree of knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge means awareness. The tree that will give me awareness of self. So that must be what I need. I need to become self-aware so I can serve Hashem b'simcha that is felt. The problem is when you go from absolute no ego to absolute ego, so then that simcha, that joy is self-absorption. It's a step down, not a step up. So Chava experienced simcha, but simcha that is self-focused. Noach wanted to fix that. If the problem is having simcha that's self-focused, let's have simcha that is unaware. If awareness is the problem, self-awareness is the problem, let's lose consciousness. So you got drunk. And that further missed the point. Because to be drunk, to have that simcha that has no self-awareness, is just going to the other extreme, which is not the purpose either. It's still feeling. It's just a confused feeling. You haven't transcended awareness, you have lost awareness. You've gone below it. That's not the point. Sarah understood that the only real correction of Chava's mistake is to have simcha that is infused with bittul. Meaning that it's not about me, it's all about fulfilling the mission, but doing that with enthusiasm, with energy, with liveliness. When you have bittul, bittul doesn't mean you're a nobody. Bittul means that you transcend being stuck in yourself and you fulfill the higher purpose. Just like Malchus. Malchus is not nothing. It's not that there's 9 spheres and nothing. It's that there's 9 spheres and Malchus. Malchus is a something, but what type of something? A something that is not about itself. That is a conduit. That allows the flow of the 9 spheres above it to go further, to be expressed. And one sec, so this is what Sarah reached, the level where you operate not about yourself, it's not about me, it's about getting the mission done, fulfilling the mission, expressing the powers that were given to me to do what needs to be done. And when you're operating on that level of bittul, so then you can have simcha, but that simcha is not self-absorption, it's liveliness, it's energy. You're really alive. You can even feel the simcha, because your feeling is still not about you. It's with bittul. So it's not, wow, I'm feeling such simcha. It's that I've got a job to do, and the way to do that job is with simcha. So therefore the Zohar says, she merited this supernal life, this higher level of living, where her life is really hers. It can be hers, and that's not a contradiction. Because who is she? She is the one who serves Hashem. That's her identity. That's everything she is. So if it's her being b'simcha, it's avodas Hashem that is b'simcha, because that's her whole identity. If there's you and your avodas Hashem as a separate thing, so then your simcha could be self-absorption and not helping your avodas Hashem. But if your whole identity is avodas Hashem, so then your simcha, your joy that you feel, is avodas Hashem. That's where Sarah reached. That's the level of bittul she reached. So therefore, Chaim Dilah, that her life was hers, was actually hers.
So why didn't Mashiach come then? If she achieved
Because it was just Sarah. There's a whole world that still needs to reach this. Sarah started the tikkun. The world's going to follow. But she experienced a taste of what it is in Tchias HaMeisim when life is real life.
So what we said about cinema buying, so that we have the power now to do it as well?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we said, that if Sarah did it, she did it to show us what to do.
She paid the power.
Yeah.
So could you just explain, Chava did wine and Noach did wine, and Sarah didn't do wine. You're saying it wasn't a do, it was just the way she lived her life. It wasn't a particular action. And this is the story of Mitzrayim sort of indicative? Is that the proof? Is it like, well, this proves that that's how she lived her life, because if she wouldn't have lived her life that way, she would have gotten bogged down there? Is that
This is an illustration of her nachtas v'salkas, going down,
yeah.
but not getting stuck in it. Coming out with all the gifts.
Right. And Nachtas V'Salkas is indicative of having that kind of
Malchus, bittul.
okay.
Correct.
But it's like interesting because like her crowning attribute, she doesn't even do anything. Like
Right.
she's just like almost like an accessory to the whole
Yeah.
story.
Right, but that's what Malchus is. Malchus is the enabler. She set up the whole family. She arranged it. It wasn't about her, it was about...
We hear much more about Abraham in the story and Parai,
Yeah.
and and she's just the victim.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
She's doing everything to manage it.
Right, but
It's actually-
he got the gifts because of her.
Yeah.
Okay, next week we're going to see how this connects to Ozimol Eschok Pinu. That joy, it says Ozimol in the future, our mouth will be full of joy, of laughter. Because this is the joy that Sarah experienced, that we'll experience in the future.
It seems like these concepts are so fundamental. Like this has to be learned by everybody. Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Press the same button.